last 3 years, I started selling art and being able to travel and not have to work like everybody else.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of a hustler, so I'm out there doing what I can to be my own boss. So it's not like I'm just sitting around painting and slacking off. I'm like out there doing my craft and then getting out there and,
right.
and selling myself.
Yeah. Do you prefer to cook or to bake?
Oh man, yeah, that's a good question. I like both of them, but in the restaurant world, I found that the baking world is really, so much like family. It's a very pleasant experience. I've found most of my bosses like to kind of be really chill and quiet. So there's not a lot of distraction in the kitchen, and you can really blast through your work and have fun. You can listen to music, and it's not like there's tickets up and you're being hounded by somebody that you have to do this now. I mean, you still have to get that done now because it's baking. Like, you can't just sit around and wait because butter will come to room temp when you want it to be just ice cold at certain points, like for pie or for if you want to do croissant roll-in dough. You want it to be kind of like a not freezing cold, but you don't want it to be melty. You want it to be spreadable, but not like margarine consistency, like spready. So there's a lot of elements in baking that I felt were more scientific, and where it felt like alchemy, edible alchemy, and that's what just drove me into it. And I worked in the baking scene for probably 6 years, and yeah, it's so fun. There's so many different elements in baking, but it all is scientific, math related.
Do you lean towards like sweets or breads or pies, cookies? I don't know.
Yeah, I've done just about everything, but my favorite thing to actually bake is the unbaked stuff, which is kind of weird. It's mousses and different styles of whipping, frozen fruit and nuts that have been soaked, and the whole entire vegan baking world just kind of stole my heart. I don't know, it tastes delicious. Wow. It's not going to make you extra fat. I mean, yeah, if you eat like all of the cake or if you eat like a huge piece, then yeah, it's going to be like anything else, but it's really healthy, a lot healthier than dumping, maybe a quarter cup of sugar in your body from eating a slice of cake. Like this is, it's a whole different technique and style in the baking world, which I'm kind of on the tip of trying to go into the unknown world. I like all the secret, hidden, untested, uncharted territories in anything that I do. So that whole raw vegan world kind of like took hold of me, and the pies and the cakes and the cookies and everything that you can make and keeping it raw and healthy, that stuck with me because I've had always issues with, well, I can't get fat. Well, I mean, like it's just gonna happen if you're gonna eat sweets, and I have a sweet tooth. So I'm like, okay, how can I avoid that and still get what I want? Raw food. But I don't always eat like that, and I don't always cook like that because it's really freaking expensive. When I was working as the lead chef at Pure Cafe, Vashon Island, I was making cakes that were worth $120. We'd sell each slice for $10, and you'd get 12 slices in the pie. So $120 to make off of that cake, and you could sell it for more, but it was on a little island, and that's what they could get away with was 10. But you could sell each piece for 20 if you wanted to in a big city, and people would pay it still.
Yeah.
And then you double it.
And that was all vegan?
Yeah, all vegan. Yeah, and I'd go over there, and I was working like 3 jobs at that time. So I'd go over there like really, really early in the morning and make all the stuff, and then have it in the chiller. So when they opened up in the afternoon, it would be all set. And it's based on nuts and oil, like coconut oil based, so it solidifies, and like the pureed cashews and all that, and then you put in either like chocolate or some cacao powder, and or pureed fruit, and you could have, so the possibilities are endless. But like you have like 3 basics: the nuts and the oil, and I can't remember what the other one is. It's like an agave or some sort of like sweetener. I always used coconut nectar. Stuff's bomb. Anyways.
Have you ever made baked Alaska?
In school, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, they made us make baked Alaska. Isn't that the one where you have like a flambe thing going on? I'm pretty sure it's like a flambe, and
right.
Yeah, they had us do a few flambés.
I don't know much
Crepe
about it.
Suzette, that was another flambe with, I think, Grand Marnier.
But I've always wanted to make baked Alaska.
Let's look it up. I think I might have the recipe.
I think we should do it.
Alright. Fourth up and Friday dessert.
Oh, man. That would be the coolest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah,
So
let's set the house on fire.
Were
Woo,
you
flambe!
painting and drawing during your experiences in culinary school?
Yeah. Yeah, I was, yeah. I was living with my dad, and I did a lot of doodles and stuff at home, and then I moved in with my good friends, and I'd paint in the garage. Yeah, I've had so many paintings, it's just insane. I like to just give them away. I used to, back in the day, I used to just give them to my family. You want a painting? Yeah, oh, Merry Christmas! I don't know, I don't have anything else to give you, just paintings. They love them, you know.
I've done that a lot.
Look what I can do!
Paintings and whatever.
Made you a macaroni cup. Spray painted it gold. Woo!
Right. Yep.
That was like my first piece of art I think I gave my dad, was a macaroni cup spray painted gold. Here you glue it all around the cup.
So, what was the catalyst that made you think that you should start selling your art?
Okay, so I've been painting the sacred geometry for about maybe a year and a half or a year. And I got inspired by this man, Charles Gilchrist. I'd never heard of sacred geometry ever before. And it was sometime around like 2002 or something like that. 2002, 2003, maybe. I was like, who is this guy? This is cool. On YouTube, he has these videos on how to draw the flower of life, and in it is the Metatron's cube and all this. And so I started doing that, and okay, so wait, what was the question again?
What was the catalyst that made you think?
Okay, yeah, so then when I moved to Seattle, that's when I had started, getting all inspired by the Sacred G. I started painting it, and then going out to shows in Seattle, and people started recognizing me and seeing the stuff that I was painting, because I would paint it on hats, I'd paint it on my shoes, I'd paint it on different things, and then go out, and they liked my style, and then it just started from there. And then I had this friend who was like, wow, I really like your art, do you want to make some art for me in my business, and I'll pay you. And that's when it started in my head, like, hey, I can make money off of this. Like, boom. Then, after a couple years of working for him, and it was just basic stuff, like spray paint. I was just try to mainstream. He was like, I just like your style, like your energy, having you around, boom. So I thought, okay, well, if I can make money off of it that way, why can't I make it off of what I actually love doing on my designs? So I started painting on the hats and making, I got a whole bunch of trucker hats online, and I started painting on all of them, and then I just started hitting people up, like, hey, where's this show gonna be? Can I be at the show? Can I bring a booth? Like, and people were just like, okay, sure. Man, Seattle, like, really gave me that drive that I felt like I could be successful in this. There was a lot of support from people that I didn't even know, to people who were good friends of mine, people that I had basically kind of like friended on Facebook, and they just became really solid customer supporters, and it all started in Seattle. And that was around maybe 2000. I think it took me a while of like being out and about and in the scene and living in Seattle, because around 2010 is when I met Homeboy that I started spray painting on hats for. Then in 2012 was when I started selling my own stuff in at little shows to begin with. And then after that, I went and bought a booth. I was doing so good. Like,
do you prefer to paint on like hats and clothing, or do you prefer to do like canvas or walls? What's your...
I like it all. I really like it all. I like the idea of having wearable art because that sells better. For me, one of a kind is more important to me than having something streamlined. And maybe that's one of my downfalls and some of my success, where I'm like thinking, okay, well, I could have like a limited edition of something. So that's what I'm pretty much trying to work on, is getting towards that. But I really like painting on the hats because they sell more, and I get really fine-tuned with it and do my micro stuff. But the canvases I like doing too, but they never sell. At least I've never sold a canvas. I think it takes somebody really, really being inspired by something to want, to buy a piece of artwork.
I really like this. This is because you're a Scorpio?
Yeah, Scorpio.
So this is her Scorpio painting.
It's a fixed water sign.
Do you know what your moon sign is?
My moon sign is Virgo.
Virgo.
Mm-hmm. And my rising is Gemini.
I don't know what my rising is. I do know...
There's a calculator, we could find it.
Yeah,
it's called vaultoftheheavens.com. Vault of the Heavens, and they have a whole Vedic astrology. You click on the North Indian, and it'll show you in a grid on the first number 1, and that's where your rising sign is. So whatever astrological sign is in that number 1 triangle is your rising sign. You can also just look up what is my rising. I'm sure that there's a calculator for it. But I like the Vedic astrology version better because it tells you where all of the planets are when you were born.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
I'm a Virgo and my moon sign is Aries.
Okay.
Which means basically that I'm batshit crazy.
Well, I don't know about that.
So, have you been showing anything recently?
I've actually taken a break this year.